Hello everyone, Tid257, back on Train Sim World 2, and welcome to T's Yard. The driver of a train bound for Redcar Ore Terminal has exceeded his hours. We need you to complete the journey. So this is the scenario of the Leaf driver on Tees Valley Line, and Tees Valley Line has had some improvements and mastery added, etc. So I've been playing a little bit more again of Tees Valley Line, and I thought we'd jump into this one. It's the only one I need actually on the PS5 to complete all scenarios for Tees Valley Line, and it's the Class 20, which I don't drive that often, but as actually is one of my favourites. I played it a lot on the PS4, so I thought let's do this one. It's about 45 minutes, something like that, and we'll have a chat as we go. So let's go in here. We'll start getting everything set up. It wants us to sit here. Insert the master key, which is over on this side. The other thing I'll do is turn on the safety systems just while I'm on looking this way. AWS. Cab change lever. Let's go into forward. So we'll do the brakes in a second. Let's just look at the lights. We'll put these marker lights. That's the tail light, top marker, alright, marker. Put the cab light on anyway, just for now. Turn it back off again. Very, very wet day up here on the Tees Valley Line. From here, you'll be routed up to Middlesbrough, or Middleborough as it says there, then Grangetown, finally to the ore terminal at Redcar or Redcar. I think it is officially Redcar, however, I've heard it called both, so you know where we're going. Take the local brake off. Yeah, that's going to be distracting if I have that on full. Let's have it on run. We can cope with that because we'll be out of the cab quite a bit as well. Let me just double check that we are not going to run the points anywhere. I think this is all signal controlled out of this side, so I think we're pretty good. So all the brakes are off. Let's get the power on. Go via Newport East Junction. So we got a double header, some wheel slip there as well. So we're fully loaded, going up to the ore terminal. Let's take a shot of this as well. Because we'll need a thumbnail, of course. So I'm in the red there on the acceleration. Need to bring that down a little bit into the green. Just quickly go back into the cab. So Tees Valley Line. So there's been a few things added to Tees Valley Line. I mentioned the mastery. There hasn't been any mastery on this before now. So part of the preservation crew, anything that hasn't got mastery, they're going back and they're adding things too. So I think 2 scenarios for stage 1. 2 scenarios is required. Then 2 services in the 08, I believe. That's stage 1. That gives you certain decals that you can use in the livery designer. And then stage 2. I don't know what stage 2 actually is yet, because obviously you can't see the requirement until you've unlocked stage 1. But stage 2 is usually some kind of scenery tile. So NTP, for example, we got the hot air balloons, which is actually one of my favourite ones and looks pretty normal. There's some really strange ones. The UFO one, although it's strange, actually on Cathcart Circle, I do quite like that one. It's a bit odd. But then West Cornwall is the Kraken or sea monster coming up at St Ives and grabbing the sailing ship, which looks a bit weird to me. It looks a bit out of place, but you know, it's fine because if you unlock these, you can turn them off or turn them on, depending on your preference. So there's a few good ones. I don't know what this one is yet. I'm not that far off. I think actually when I've completed this scenario, I did one yesterday, so this is the second scenario. Just need to do 2 services with the 08 and I'll be into the second level of the mastery for this route. So then I'll be able to find out what it is that we get free. I'm sure if you look on the forums, people will have already done it and you'll be able to see what that is. But this is the class 20, so this route actually has had a couple of local DLCs, hasn't it? Because the class 31, of course, was a local DLC for this. We already had the 37, which came with it, and the class 101. So with the class 31, the class 20, I think the 31 came first, as I remember. And you know, from watching some of the videos on the channel, the class 31 actually could be my favourite loco from the British perspective in the game at the moment. And this one, yeah, this one's pretty good, to be honest. That's a bit worrying. I just popped outside the cab and it immediately put me to the back of the train, which is the thing. I think it does it in the, it's just particularly it's a 20, isn't it? It doesn't know which end of the class 20 is the front end, because if you look outside, the front end is actually there. We're driving it from the back, but of course if you try and drive one of these things forward, the driver can't see. If you look like that, if you were going, imagine you're going that way, you can't see a thing. So it seems to be getting, in the game, it seems to be getting mixed up as to what is the front, what is the back. So it's not a big deal, because now we've got all these camera views, we can quickly, you know, we can quickly switch, such as that. That's quite a nice view actually. Let's put a bit more speed in. So I've run this scenario before, not on the PS5 as I said, but I've run it on the PS4. We are of course running the PS5 version of the game. And as soon as I went to PS5, any DLC up to that point, this was September last year by the way, so any DLC I had, and I think I had everything actually up to that point, all reset, all progress reset, all completions all reset, so basically every route was showing up as fresh again. And this is why already since September I've not completed everything on TBL, because there's been so much to do on other routes, not to mention all the new routes that have come out since then, and we've had quite a few, haven't we? There seems to have been an acceleration in content over the last few months, but and that's also helped by the fact that it's not just DTG that are bringing out routes. We've got Rivet, we've got Skyhook, we've got TSG doing local DLCs. So there's many more groups making things for TSW, which is great. I'm not that far from Middlesbrough now, so let me put some more power in. It does go down to a 25 before Middlesbrough, or just as we're going through Middlesbrough, even though we've got a 60 coming up at 300 yards. So this is a heavy train, because you can see I'm in the red there for the acceleration. So I'm assuming when we get to the ore terminal it's going to ask us to unload these and run round. Let's see, I can't quite remember what we do in this scenario. and I'm already speeding, so let's just take some of that off. Just put a bit of brake in. There we go. Here comes a 101. There's a 3-car 101. So, as part of the recent changes, the 3 cars were taken out. So I'm assuming this is a scenario. So I'm thinking that that 3-car 101 is perhaps baked in. But what happened was they took out the 3-car because they said that 2-car was more authentic to this route in this time period. But there was a bit of a backlash from the community on that one, and in the roadmap stream last Tuesday, Adam said that the 3 cars will be reinstated. I think it was affecting people's liveries and, you know, all the stuff they created themselves. So some people weren't quite happy about that. So it's good they've put it back in, or they're going to put it back in. I don't think it's the mastery update. I think was a couple of days back. So whether the 3 cars have already come back yet, I don't know. As I say, I don't know if that one's just baked in because it's a scenario. Scenarios are pretty fixed, I think. We'll see. But 3 cars are coming back for the 101. So we've got a 25 coming up. There's a 37 passengers there on the left. Probably carrying steel, is it? No, so that's come from the terminal as well. That's coming the other way to where we're going now. So he's probably got empties. So let's just take a cruise through Middlesbrough station. So one of the other things, let's try and see if we can look at it, is the PIS has been sorted on here. Is it working there? I'm in the wrong view to be able to show you. You see the PIS there is working. Not the best demonstration. We'll just get the brakes on. Got a red coming up. So the PIS is in. It's not working. It's working quite well, but it's getting itself mixed up between the 24-hour clock. So you'll get to sort of, you know, it will say 7 AM, 8 AM, and instead of 9 AM, it goes to 2100. So it's getting itself in a bit of a twist at the moment. But they're aware of that, and they're going to fix it. So those monitors there are pretty similar to Northern Transpennine, so I'm hoping the Northern Transpennine ones get rolled out pretty quick based on how well these work. Because you know I love me some Northern Transpennine, especially when I can create my own scenarios and put the Class 150 on there. If you've not seen that video on the channel, there is a scenario that I created for Creators Club, actually, where I've took the Northern Rail livery from Creators Club, put it on the Class 150, and I've run a service from Manchester, Victoria, all the way through to Leeds, and that's available on the Creators Club. But there is a video on the channel if you just look down. A couple of weeks back, I think it was. It's about an hour, just under an hour. And I'm kind of hoping that they do something to allow us to use the Class 150 on this route as well, because I think we would have seen it on this route in this time period. So it would be nice if we can use that as a selectable timetable train rather than being able to just create your own scenarios. I haven't created one for it actually on here. I need to do that because I'm trying to run the 150 wherever I can. Really, I do quite like it. So 2.7 miles from Grangetown. Put some speed in. Actually, we've got a 25 miles per hour coming up, but it's not for a while yet. Let's see if these crossing gates go up, actually, if I'm quick enough to get to them. They're actually crossing gates that open, aren't they? So let's see. It all depends if something else is coming the other way, actually. There is a 101 in the station in front of us. There's a 101 there, you see, which is waiting to go out. So the gates might not open. Yeah, they should have opened by now. In fact, he's coming towards us. He's coming towards us, so they're not going to open. So, not to worry. Let's carry on. Keep an eye on that 25 miles per hour that's coming up. So just while we're making our way to Grangetown, don't forget this Tuesday, which is the 12th of April, is when Horseshoe Curve is released. That's a route that's developed by Skyhook Games, so I will be bringing that to you on Tuesday. Just need to let you guys know via the community post what time that live stream will start. It just depends how I get with work, etc. But I will be bringing that to you, so we'll do that live and we'll take a look at that together. Put some brakes on. So as I mentioned in the other videos, I've still got, of course, the 64GB DLC limit issue that all the PS5 players have got, unfortunately, just now whilst DTG are working on it. So I'll be installing Horseshoe Curve. I imagine it's going to be a decent sort of size. These American freight ones are always a decent size, they're always several gigabytes. So I'm probably going to have to lose something else that I've currently got installed. I'm just about at the moment managing to keep hold of all the British stuff. I've had to lose Long Island Railroad from the American stuff. Clinchfield is gone. Penn Corridor's gone. A couple of the German routes, unfortunately, I had to take off as well because there is quite a lot of DLC now. There's quite a lot of DLC. So for this one, I may need to swap it with Sherman Hill, but I'll see on Tuesday. Once it's released, we'll see what size that is. And fingers crossed, DTG have got 2 engineers working on that issue now, so I'm hoping that that gets fixed pretty quickly. It's been going on since September, I think, last year. But it's good to know that they've got 2 guys working on that and they're working on it full time, so it is important to them. It's stopping a lot of players of the full range of everything that they've paid for. It's not the swapping of the routes that's the issue, really. It's remembering, you know, routes such as this one where if you don't have Tees Valley installed, you can't use the 31, you can't use the 20. And it's remembering those associations with routes. So if you could remove a route that you're not playing as much, but you do use the local DLCs via substitution on other routes. So, anyway, we'll leave them to get that fixed. I'm sure that's coming. But as for now, we're moving through the heavy industrialised area of Tees Valley. I'll just take another screenshot. Always looks good in this area. We've got a 101 racing up pretty fast. But we do need to start thinking about braking now. In 740 yards, we've got a red. So we'll just roll up to this one, I think. So in here we got the hot plate, of course. Warning, surface may be hot, so you can put your food in there. Or your tea, cup of tea, your flask, or whatever it might be, your coffee pot. That's a nice little addition to the DLC. Just for authenticity purposes. I imagine these cabs get very cold actually. They're very bare inside, although there's some cab heating probably if I look for it. Is it this cab heater? I'll put that on actually. I'll feel... Oh, I can hear it kicking in actually. Through the headphones, that's quite interesting. I can hear the heaters. Yeah, even though there are cab heaters, I imagine days like this, up in the northeast, it's pretty grim, pretty cold, so you need all the warmth you can get. So we've got this stop coming up. We're assuming we'll just be awaiting a clearance to go into the actual terminal. Concentration, then I don't spad. This is one of those where the red is right after the stop point. The brakes are pretty decent actually on this. Put it into full service, that'll get us down. Let's just put that into initial. You know what, my virtual legs are getting hot, let's turn these off. Let's just call the signalman. So we need to wait for the signal to change, so we've obviously got some traffic somewhere. I'm probably waiting for this guy to clear, because he's on our path. He's going to go off up here. The other thing that was actually done recently in this route was passengers, so I believe it's now got rush hour levels of passengers. We've got the terrible twins here. We've got business lady. We've got ginger tash. Don't know what's going on with this guy. Anyway, I digress. We've got a yellow, so let's get underway. Yeah, so it's the signal's guiding us across to the right. That's what we were waiting for. We're just waiting for some clearance. Just got to build this speed up slowly. You can see we're in the red again. Now we're in the green, so that's good. We don't want to stress the engines out. Put a bit more in. So we talked about Horseshoe Curve just briefly just then. Is that a route that you guys are interested in? You let me know in the comments. I don't know whether the majority of you will play just anything you find interesting, or whether or not you tend to stick to one country. I know a lot of people like to just run the British stuff, and it looks as if Spirit of Steam may be the next British route that comes out. So everybody's kind of waiting for Spirit of Steam, which will be Crew to Liverpool. Quite looking forward to that one. But I started off by just wanting to play the British stuff, and then I started playing a bit of the German stuff. I actually quite liked it. I actually got into it, especially when I learnt PZB. As you know, that for me was one of the key things with the German routes, to double the enjoyment of a German route. So it's worth learning that if you haven't. American freight, I don't mind it. It wouldn't be my first choice, but some of these routes are actually really nice. So I did like Sherman Hill actually. I bought Sherman Hill in the sale, as you know, just recently. It was on sale for about 16 quid. I think actually after that it went down to something like 12 pound. So it went even further down the sale. But I bought that one. I actually quite liked that one. That was the DTG one. And of course Clinchfield. Clinchfield was very good. I quite like Clinchfield. Sandpatch is one that I dip into occasionally. I played it a lot at the beginning. Not so much on the PS5. I haven't got back round to it really on the PS5. And there was Cane Creek, which I did play solidly for quite a while. I just found the other end of, I can't remember what it's called now. One end of Cane Creek, after the long single track section, at the top end, there's a depot at one end, isn't there? The other end is not as interesting, I thought. But I did play that for quite a while. That was a Skyhook one as well. So they're good for the variety. But I was just interested, what generally do you guys do? Do you just buy a route that you find interesting, or do you specifically go for a certain country and try and build up your collection like that? I'd be interested to know that. I think we all play it a bit differently, don't we? Right, let's get some speed up for this final run into the terminal. Our next one is a go via. Must use the horn. So the terminal is just over there to the left. That's where we're heading. In fact, it's right there. That's where we're heading. So the signals are giving us the left turn ahead. Just take the power out for now because we've got a yellow coming up. we may just get a red on entry to the terminal. Let's see. We need to be getting down to 10 miles an hour for this run in, so let's do that. We're not going to do it, we're going to be really speeding. I've left that very, very, very late. Don't want to brake too much, because of course then when you try and get the brakes off it takes a while. Let's put that back to running. I might just do it. There we go. So as I said earlier, the braking's quite good on this. But you can see now, I need to put some power back in to prevent us coming to a complete stop. Let's try and get back up to that 10 miles per hour which it's asking for. So we are going left here at this junction. Right, so I'll leave it on minimum power. We're just over 9 miles per hour. Let's put a little bit more in. We are on the flat. Just need to check the points on the way in as well. Just in case we've got any manual ones at this side of the terminal. So let's just have a quick look at the map. That one's good. Those are good. Got to go via so I think now we're pretty good. So I'm not sure if it's going to ask us to unload these or whether we just need to bring these here and drop them off ready. Let's see. This is a nice touch here in the forefoot between the rails with the oil. All these heavy freight trains coming over the tracks, they're going to drop oil. It's quite good. I've seen a lot of talk on the forums actually. Let me just tell you, these are the limestone wagons which come with the class class 20, part of the class 20 DLC. There's been a lot of talk about the draw distance being degraded since the last update to TVL. You can't see that. Well, there is a line just further up you can see sweeping ahead of us. I wonder if that's what they're talking about. You can just see the ballast is changing right across the front of us. About now where that stop marker is on the left hand side, where that buffer is, you can see there. Maybe that's what people are talking about. But there was a lot of chatter straight after the update about that. You can kind of see it chasing away from me as I follow it. But it's just, it is good that, you know, some of these old routes that we're used to that have been around for a while, they actually do get some attention. They're not just, you know, they're not just put out there, fixes issued and then left, you know. So we've had the working PIS on this, for example, which is something, you know, they didn't need to do, but they've rolled it back into this old route, which is really good to see. I like the fact that they will go back, and if they've got a new technology for one route, they'll roll it into something else. So we've just got 300 yards to this go via, and then we should be arriving at the terminal itself. We'll see what it wants us to do. A bit more speed and it's starting to drop slightly. This area is very detailed actually, of these to this terminal. I just wonder how long it takes to model all this, all these buildings and fine details. I imagine it takes quite a while and some skill to do that. You're entering the ore terminal site. To successfully unload all material, be sure to pass through the unloader at no more than 3 miles per hour, which is 5 kilometers per hour. Okay. So, that being the case, we'll take some power off. In good time. And let's take that brake off. Put it on the minimum throttle we can. This is too slow. So the 37 has got a slow speed control, of course. So if you're doing any work in this terminal in the class 37, you can set the speed control. This class 20 doesn't, so it's just a manual thing. Let's put a little bit more in. The other thing I need to do is check the points right after. So I think what will happen is, the minute we hit this, right, okay, so we're good for where we're going. Let's just take the power down. Because I think we were too fast. So, you know what we'll do? Let's just put it in reverse. Because we've come all this way, we don't want to end up not finishing the job. And that's the trick, you see, because we were coming towards that and I was trying to check to make sure we were actually going to go the right way. Because there's points there right after this this part of the terminal. There we go. So we've got that filled now. So let's put the brakes on. We got it emptied, I should say. Let's just make sure we're going in the right direction. Okay, so now we're in business. So now we need to stick to what it told us. So we're in forwards, no more than 3 miles per hour. First two are empty. Wait for those brakes to come off. We just need to monitor the speed now. So we're at 2.3. We've got some brake actually still on there. That one's empty. Let's take these brakes off. Yeah, so we're coming off slowly now. So we can see that empty. Just monitoring the speed. Yeah, we've still got a brake on somewhere. If I hold it in overcharge, is that going to take the brake off? Yep, stuck it down to... Yeah, it's took it off now. So I just needed to hold it in overcharge for it to do that. So we've got our speed pretty nailed here, 2.3 miles an hour, which is good after that initial problem. This will make our train significantly lighter as well, of course. So that's interesting. In the top left hand corner there, the actual objective circle, the yellow circle, is actually full now. Usually when that fills up, that's the end of your unloading or loading, but we've obviously still got quite a few here that we need to unload. And we get 9 action points for each one we unload. About 4 left to do, I think. And just the last one. Then we need to nip back to the front of the train, see what we need to do next. So we need to stop up here. So let's speed up a little bit now for this last part. Take the power off. Put some brake in. Easy to slip into the emergency brake there as well, as I just did. Great work, thanks for keeping the traffic flowing. So that's the end of our scenario. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that. Yeah, 45. It was a 45-minute scenario. We did it in 45 and 3 seconds, so we're pretty much on time, even though we did have to reverse slightly there as we were unloading. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It's been a pleasure as always. Thanks for joining me. We'll be back with more Train Sim World. Don't forget, Tuesday we'll have the live stream of Horseshoe Curve. So I hope you can join me for that. If you're on the fence, you're not sure yet whether you're going to pick it up, we'll take a look together and we'll have a chat about that, and we'll see what it's all about. Okay, thanks guys. See you later. Catch you on the next one. Take care.